So, let's talk video editing on Linux. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying most of what I'm going to have to say here cannot apply to anybody doing things or trying to do things on a professional level. That is beyond my expertise. My setup is fairly simple compared to what a professional level video content creator would do. So, all that I am going to say about it is, like, if you're already doing professional level work and you're not already doing it on Linux, if you're on Windows already and you're like using the Adobe Creative Suite or whatever, can you get your work done on Linux? Unless you're extremely dedicated to trying, probably not. If you want more information related to that subject, I'm going to link a video in the description by EposFox, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Other than that, let's talk video editing from the point of view of what I'm actually familiar and comfortable with. So pretty much, as far as all the sorts of video stuff that I have done, which, let me clarify, it's always ever been a hobby for me, one I have been enthusiastic and passionate about, but still just a hobby. That's all it has been for me. And pretty much every video that I've done has always gone either to, well, yeah, always gone to this channel. Some things on Twitch, but mostly to this channel. So, I don't expect people to go and watch every single one of my videos because I said that, because that would be ridiculous. There's over 1,000 of them. But the fact of the matter is, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm not saying I've been doing it like super high quality, amazing videos for a long time, but I have been doing videos for like over 11 years now. And in my situation, I do run Linux and I do make it work. I'm not a professional level video editor. That's not what I do. That's beyond my needs. So with the level of it that I do, you know, I mean, I do make it work. But it's still a complicated thing to answer. So let's start with like what situation video editing is there for. If you're just somebody who does super simple, basic, like home video stuff, like just cutting up a few clips, like really simple stuff, you can get it done on Linux, probably. I only really, like, as far as the free and open source options go, the simpler stuff, I only really have experience with Kdenlive, and it can be pretty unstable. It can. Other than that, though, it is fairly simple to use. There are tutorials you can find online for it, but in my experience, it is fairly unstable. So even with the level of video work that I do, it's very frustrating to use for me. And I'm not, and again, like, I don't even do super complicated stuff, but Kdenlive, like, even for what I do, it's still frustrating to try to use Kdenlive. So I couldn't even imagine, like, recommending Kdenlive to a professional video creator. Like, that's just, it's I want to say it's not feasible for that, and that I know people are going to argue back at me. The Linux Gamer does it. Yeah. He's also, like, super passionate about free and open source, and, you know, I'm not trying to knock him or anything. He does do good work, and he uses Kdenlive. Props to him. It's just too frustrating for me, so I don't. Now, to be fair with Kdenlive, it only has, it has a, like, from what I've heard, I don't know if it's actually super accurate, but apparently it only has like 3 people actively working on it. So the fact that it's in the state that it is kind of amazing, but still only 3 people working on it. It's going to be hard to bring it up to a level comparable to other programs, to like the proprietary options that we have, which, yeah, a lot of people that are on Linux are using it because they're also huge fans of free and open source. I get that. I generally am as well. But if it means not wanting to rip my hair out trying to do even a semi-complex video like my machinima videos, then I don't know why I pointed over there, then I'm fine using a proprietary solution if it makes things less frustrating. And Resolve does for me. But we're going to get to Resolve later. That's kind of its own beast, so we're going to get to that a little bit later. So, Kdenlive is great for super simple stuff. It's great for that, but anything much more than that, it's frustrating to use because of how unstable it can be. So, as far as any other free and open source editors, like I said, I don't really have experience with them. At some point, when I stop being lazy about it, I do want to take a look at Shotcut because I have heard that that's good as well. And there's also OpenShot, but whenever I've tried that, that has also been kind of very unstable, and it's a lot more simplistic than Kdenlive, so I really have no good reason to try OpenShot because it's even simpler than Kdenlive. And yeah, I don't really have any reason to want to try OpenShot. So maybe I'll look at Shotcut, but when I've tried to before, it's like, it's just, that definitely seems to have a learning curve. Let's put it that way. So once you start to get above the fairly basic level stuff, Kdenlive is not going to cut it. People are going to disagree with me. You're welcome to, but I don't believe Kdenlive cuts it. So past that point, we get to the proprietary options, which are also more fully featured and, in my experience, a lot more stable as well. So let's start with Lightworks. Now, I have briefly used Lightworks before. It's version 14. I think that's the current release. I know I think the 14.5 version is in beta right now, but I haven't looked at it. So this is me speaking from having used for Lightworks version 14, only the free version, mind you, which that has its own issues. Now, codec support with Lightworks seems to be very good. Like, as far as I remember, there are very few formats that I was not able to import into Lightworks, so that's great. The thing with Lightworks, especially if you're coming from something like Adobe Premiere or a lot of other video editing software, the learning curve is pretty big, and honestly, I could never get used to it. Some people do use it, and they do. Some people really do enjoy using it. They know how to, and they like it. Props to them. Is definitely not for me. And not only that, if you do stick with the free version, you basically have like almost no control over the video output. It only goes up to 720p, and you can only select from some presets. That's it. So, as far as free options, if you're okay with just a super simple output like that, then maybe you can take a look at Lightworks. But again, you're probably not going to get much professional level stuff done on the free version. Well, you're definitely not going to get professional level stuff done on the free version. And anything really past that, I don't know. I have not used the paid version of Lightworks, so not going to talk about that. So then we get to Resolve. If you guys have been following me for a while, you would know that I often tout Resolve as the best video editing software on Linux, because in my experience, especially with the version 15 release, it's been fantastic for me and has worked almost perfectly. So it left me in the mindset of, okay, yeah, Resolve is great. Let's start touting it as like the best video editing software. And again, you know, for me, it has worked great. For others, it has worked great. For others, it has been utter garbage. And that is unfortunate, but it is the truth. So, first with Resolve, the free version does not have nearly the limitations of Lightworks. However, Resolve is quite finicky with codecs. So on the free version on Linux, you can't work with H.264, which is basically like the most commonly used codec for video stuff, especially for like more basic stuff. And that right away is going to be a turnoff for a lot of people. I work around it. I just transcode my clips to ProRes to work with in Resolve, and that works fine for me. because for me, just using Resolve is worth it because it's just, in my opinion, a lot better than the other options we have. So that being said, that you're not going to get Resolve working on a low-end laptop with built-in graphics. That's not happening. You do need a reasonably, I don't want to say somewhat reasonably powerful, I'd say, I mean, they probably have system requirements posted, but you do at least need a dedicated graphics card and a decent CPU. So you're not going to run it on a crappy laptop. And as for graphics card, the lowest end I have tried it on is an RX 570 4GB version. That's the lowest end I've tried it on, and that has worked. But you do need a dedicated graphics card. And even then you need to worry about the fact that, one, they only officially support Red Hat and CentOS, so if you want to run it on Ubuntu, which I would assume a lot of people probably are going to, as Ubuntu does tend to be the most popular desktop distribution for newcomers especially, or an Ubuntu derivative, either way. Let's say if you're on NVIDIA. Now, my setup is not on NVIDIA, my setup is all AMD, so I'm not speaking firsthand with the latest version of Resolve, but you need to make sure that you have CUDA, the CUDA toolkit installed, along with possibly other dependencies, and it may or may not work for you. If it does, great. If it doesn't, see the Epos Fox video. Now, if you're on AMD, it's actually a lot simpler because all you need to do is get OpenCL up and running. So, well, okay, I say it's a lot simpler. It seems a lot simpler. It seems a lot simpler because I didn't have to worry about any other random dependencies. All I had to do was get OpenCL working. So, yeah, all I can speak for is the RX 500 series. That's all that I can say for certain is the RX 500 series. If you're on Ubuntu, like 1804, long-term support release, you can either just do the AMD GPU Pro drivers, or if you want to stick with things being as free and open source as possible, you can do the AMD ROCm, that's the Radeon Open Compute. You can also do that, which is, I don't want to say it's simple to set up, especially if you're not super comfortable in the terminal. If you want the simplest setup, do AMD GPU Pro, but if you know what you're doing, AMD's ROCm does also work perfectly fine. Yeah, but even then, it still comes down to, can you get Resolve to work? If you can, great. Great, because in my experience, it's pretty good if you can get it to work. If you can't, well, that's kind of where the root of the whole problem comes in, is it's, if you can get stuff to work, it can work for you. But there's a lot of people who, sometimes for inexplicable reasons, they just don't work. No matter how helpful people try to be over Twitter or on Discord. So, I guess as a way to wrap all this up, is video editing feasible on Linux? Super basic stuff? Probably. Intermediate? It depends. High level / professional? Probably not. Probably not. I don't want to give a definite no, but I certainly cannot say yes, and it's still kind of hard to say maybe. I make it work, some people can't. So I guess the final answer is it's complicated. And that right away just raises a whole nother set of problems in of itself. So that was a fairly rambly one. and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, well, okay, I say I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussion in the comments about whether I'm right or wrong, but I mean, let's be honest, I don't get a huge amount of comments as it is. So we'll see. Maybe this one will blow up. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, till next time, this has been Axel. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it all the way to the end here, congratulations. You can find me over on Mastodon at linuxrocks.online/@Axel, where I rant about free and open source stuff. You can also find me on Twitter at Axel94, where I rant about life stuff, sometimes cats. There's cat pictures. I'm gonna go now.